It's your boy. Who is it though? We back talking sports. So I saw this clip yesterday. Shout out to the boy Ryan Clark, cause he be keeping it real on LeBron. He do talk about race too much for me when it doesn't need to be talked about, but I do like Ryan Clark. So I wanted to bring this video to y'all because I thought it was very necessary to hear, because I think we got a misconception on LeBron James. And I agree with every last little bit of what Ryan Clark said. And I personally want to, I personally want y'all to tell me, am I tripping? Is Ryan Clark tripping? Or are we, you know what I'm saying, are we valid? It's about 3 minutes, and it literally explains why LeBron James has a problem with everybody talking about rings. So we're gonna get this together. Let's go.
LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture, because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. Individual.
I need y'all to hear this.
Have a problem with ring culture.
Shout out to the two that tapped in here. I'm waiting for a couple more of y'all to tap in. I need y'all to hear this. Because Ryan Clark broke this down better than some NBA analysts, bro. Ryan Clark is a football player, but the way he breaks this down, just listen.
He has a problem with more ring. LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture, because curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also, too, about LeBron is the fact.
What's funny with that, sorry, I have a best friend. Bro, cool. That's cool. You love LeBron. That's cool. But no. Listen to this, though. I need y'all to hear this. Because LeBron James has hoodwinked y'all, bro. He got y'all thinking that hold on, y'all. LeBron James got y'all thinking something that is really not. Hold on, y'all. Technical difficulties. I'm trying to play this clip. Okay. So, let's get it.
Rings culture. Because LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture. Because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture.
You get it.
Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes.
Ryan Clark
he went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also, too, about LeBron is the fact that he's talking about the accumulation of something when that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. his accumulation of points over a certain amount of time,
Why are you on my
accumulation of
channel?
assists, accumulation
This is
of
not a LeBron
rebounds.
channel. Why are you on
The
here?
reason he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings
What's
than the
up,
person
Ted?
that he's
What's
chasing.
good?
And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about
I'ma start
how
back over for
many
you,
rings
Ted.
you get as long as
'Cause
you
everybody
have
need
one.
to hear this.
Or if LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture, he has a problem with more rings culture. Because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also too about LeBron
Ted,
is the
you
fact
get a pin
that
message, Ted.
he's talking about the accumulation of something when that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. His accumulation of points over a certain amount of time, accumulation of assists, accumulation of rebounds.
What's
The
up,
reason
Lisa?
he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings than the person that he's chasing. And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about how many rings you get as long as you have one, or if I can get out and debunk the fact that we're not having a conversation about how much you elevated your team in the most important moment, just about how good you were, right? Because when you bring up Barry Bonds, it's like, let's not think about whether or not he won a championship. Let's say he was the greatest ever, which all baseball players agree to, right? Like he brought up Dan Marino. Yeah, we know Dan Marino could spin it, but Dan Marino never lifted his team to a championship. So we speak about him differently than we talk about Tom Brady. And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or a top 3 or a top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical. Because you shaped your career early on around winning championships because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden, because maybe there's a fear you won't win another one, championships or amount of championships don't matter.
Hold up.
So you heard what Ryan Clark said, and I 100% agree. LeBron James, and you heard this here first. You ain't heard this nowhere else. LeBron James has created stat culture. You want to talk about ring culture? LeBron James has created stat culture. It's all about stats. It's all about stats. Don't care about winning. That's why they try to throw Robert Horry into it. But like, well, he had this many stats. He got this many points all the time. He got this many assists all the time. Not remembering, not putting context around a player could play for 20 years and accumulate 30,000 points. And another player could be playing for 15 years and accumulate 26,000 points. That don't mean he's a better scorer. He played more years than him. You have to go years to years. If both players played 15 years and they got the accumulation of points, then you can compare them. LeBron James has created stat culture. He does not have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with, like Ryan Clark said, more ring culture. When you talk about the accumulation of something, what is his fan base always talking about? Points, rebounds, assists, steals, all time. And all of this. What don't they talk about? Oh, LeBron James has a 3-peat, or he has the most rings of all time. He got the best finals record of all time. They always talk about stats. The only time they talk about rings is if they can compare to a player that they have more rings than. If you comparing LeBron James to a Steph Curry, which they have the same amount of rings, then they start talking about MVPs and this, and that. You compare him to Kobe, then they start talking about stats and this, and that. They don't talk about rings. They only talk about why is ring culture this and ring culture that. When it's because he cannot be the GOAT. He's not going to win enough championships to be the GOAT. So his counter argument is the stat culture and the stats, and why is it talked about so much in our game and blah 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 this. My guy, did you forget that you went on stage and said not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six? If it wasn't about rings, what made you go up there and say that? Why did you go to Miami when you could have stayed in Cleveland and got all the stats you wanted? LeBron's stats might have been even better if he stayed in Cleveland. Might not have won, but you claiming like ring culture is bad for the NBA. Now, I will agree with this. Rings are not the end all be all when you comparing greats. But another thing I will say, and it's just for me, if you have a losing record in the finals, that matters to me. So LeBron James does not have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture. And what that means is he has more rings than him. When we're talking about, but the context is when we're talking about the greatest players of all time. If a role player got this many rings, and we don't sit here and say Robert Horry is better than Allen Iverson, because Robert Horry was not a number one option on his team or a number one or number two option on his team. He was a role player. But when we talking about the greatest players of all time, then we take rings definitely into account. Bird and Magic. I believe Bird might have been the better player, but Magic was more successful and led his team to more championships. I personally believe Bird is the better player, though. You feel what I'm saying? They only use rings when it can fit their narrative. When it comes to Michael Jordan, they don't really want to talk about rings. But when it comes to somebody like KD or Kawhi or somebody like that, then they do talk about rings. LeBron has created his own culture, stat culture. You want to talk about ring culture? He has created stat culture. So if we going to do that, then stat culture is bad for the game. What's more important? How many points you score or how many rings you got? What's more important to an NBA player? How many championships they can win or how many points they get? What do you think is more important? I'll leave you with that. Like, share, subscribe, hit the join button. LeBron James has been exposed by Ryan Clark and your boy, who is Hendo. Please subscribe to the channel. We on our way to 2,000 subscribers. And we're shadow banned and demonetized, but we still getting subscribers. If you want to collab, listen. I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry about my Dylan Square video. That guy was not meant for my channel. I didn't think he added anything to my channel. Talk that shit, J-Boy. Shout out my boy J-Boy in the building, man. But I'm sorry about my last collab, but the guy Dylan Square, I don't think y'all recepted good to him. I don't think he was adding anything to my channel. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but I just I won't be doing another collab with him. If I'm going to collab with you, I need you to add something to my channel. Shout out to the guys that I already collab with. Shout out my brother KB Film Room. Shout out Big Dog. Shout out everybody. What's good, little CJ? What's popping? What's popping, my boy? But yeah, go subscribe to my channel, Real Hendo Sports. You know what I'm saying? My backup channel. So I'm gonna play this again for you, little CJ, and I'm gonna let you hear it.
LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also, too, about LeBron is the fact that he's talking about the accumulation. When that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. His accumulation of points over a certain amount of time, accumulation of assists, accumulation of rebounds. The reason he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings than the person that he's chasing.
Exactly.
And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about how many rings you get as long as you have one, or if I can get out and debunk the fact that we're not having a conversation about how much you elevated your team in the most important moment, just about how good you were, right? Because when you bring up Barry Bonds, it's like, let's not think about whether or not he won a championship. Let's say he was the greatest ever, which all baseball players agree to, right? Like he brought up Dan Marino. Yeah, we know
Exactly.
Dan Marino could spin it, but Dan Marino
shit,
never lifted his team to a championship. So we speak about him differently than we talk about Tom Brady. And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or a top 3 or a top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical. Because you shaped your career,
he didn't even know how many championships Peyton Manning won,
winning
bro.
championships,
He's a clown, bro.
because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden,
I say they all better
there's
too.
a fear you won't win another one.
Well, no, I do think he better than
championships, or amount of championships don't matter.
Hold up.
So that was Ryan Clark. I do agree. I think everybody on there is better than him. I got Duncan ahead of him too. After what he did, bro, I got Duncan definitely ahead of him. I got all of them ahead of him, probably except Magic, only because of the defensive end. But I won't disagree if somebody have Magic above him. Bro, Ryan Clark just broke him down better than any NBA analyst has been breaking this shit down. And this is on a podcast. This is my thing. If championships didn't matter in the GOAT debate or whatever like that, or you don't know why ring culture is talked about so much in our game, why did you say when you won the 2016 championship that made you the greatest of all time? If it's a team accomplishment, why didn't you say that made the Cavs us the greatest team of all time? Why didn't you say that? You said it made you the greatest of all time. That championship, why did it matter? Why did a championship make you the greatest of all time if it ain't about rings, or that's a team accomplishment? LeBron contradicts himself in real time, talks out both sides. The more and more he talks and plays, the more and more he hurts his legacy. He should have retired 3-4 years ago, bro. If I'm being real, he should have retired after that AD championship. Since then, bro, he's been getting his ass whooped in the playoffs. Exactly. Why did you go to Miami if it ain't about the championships don't really matter like that? Or if that ain't the end all be all goal. If that wasn't your goal, why did you leave Miami? If stats was the goal, you was getting your stats in Cleveland. You was dominating. Why would you leave? Because you know in your heart that rings matter. And now you have to pivot from that because you know you ain't gonna never catch Michael Jordan in rings. You're never gonna catch Kobe in rings, Kareem, Magic. You was never gonna catch Bill Russell. Nobody gonna catch Bill Russell. But you're never gonna catch them. And you really never gonna catch Michael Jordan. That's why you really mad. The media has propped you up as much as they fucking can. Propped you up past Kobe, disrespecting Kobe, got Kobe and T-Mac talks. They have propped you up as far as they can prop you. But it's still not enough. It still wasn't enough. And now you got people out here who really fighting back on my motherfucking guy Kobe name. They really fighting back on this. And now you got the GOAT coming back. MJ, it's over. This is the end of LeBron James. I'm letting you know this now. When the GOAT come back, when Michael Jordan come back, I'm telling you here right now, Michael Jordan finna get raw on you niggas. I already see it. He ain't coming. Michael Jordan ain't just Michael. It's been 25 years since we really seen anything from Mike in the NBA. He coming back all of a sudden when they go back to NBC? Nigga, when I tell you, Mike finna get this shit right. MJ about to tell you niggas like, hey, the GOAT back. All that shit LeBron talking, fuck what that nigga talking about. Listen to the GOAT. Nigga. Like, the shit crazy, little CJ. This nigga T-Mac is a clown. You betrayed Kobe, bro. Don't ever say Kobe was your brother, bro. You sitting up there making excuses. Bro, you lost to Utah with Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer and a young AK-47. Y'all mean averaged 25 and 10 in that series. You averaged 21. Rayford Austin averaged like 13. Scola averaged like 12, 13. And you lost to Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, Andre Karolinko and them. You were nowhere near Kobe on defense. Nowhere near, my nigga. The only convo was offensively. And now you got these clowns, these Kobe haters out here talking about, yeah, he probably would have won. No, he wouldn't have did shit. He couldn't even get out the first round with Yao. Now, Yao was hurt a couple of those years, but the team he still had 4 or 5 players averaging in double figures. You had Luis Scola, Shane Battier. You had a lot of good role players on that team. You couldn't get out the first round, my nigga? Man, I don't want to hear that, man. T-Mac better pipe down somewhere, bro. You better pipe down. You ain't even better than AI, nigga. The fuck is you talking about? AI got out the first round. Put T-Mac on that Philadelphia 76ers team. They don't get to the finals. He couldn't even get past the first round, homie. You blew a 3-1 lead, bro. You got, in game 7 versus my Pistons, bro, you shot 7-24. You got 20 points from Drew Gooden, 10 points from Pat Garrity, 13 points from another role player. I remember this shit. You got outplayed by Chauncey Billups. He had 40 on you, then 37 on you in the last 2 games, homie. Stop, bro. Stop it. Stop it. We not finna revise history like this, dog. We ain't letting y'all do that. You couldn't even get out the first round, my nigga. What are we really talking about? You lost to Darren Williams, my nigga. Darren Williams was cold, don't get me wrong, but you was supposed to be better than him. Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer. Yeah, you lost to them. You blew a 3-1 lead, my nigga, against my Pistons the year before they won the championship. Nah, I ain't even gonna do Paul George like that. Paul George got to a game 7 with LeBron. with Indiana. Paul George got out the first. Paul George, when he was with the Clippers, carried them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Western Conference Finals. T-Mac ain't never did that. And Kawhi was hurt. His second best player was out. So I don't want to hear that shit. Nah, I get PG. He fell off my radar a lot, but I ain't gonna do PG like that, nigga. PG didn't have way more postseason success than T-Mac. And I give T-Mac this. Some of those Orlando teams were dog shit. The roster was trash. But my nigga, we not asking you to win a championship. Just get out the first round. You were in the easier conference too. Then you go to Houston. That was a good team, bro. What's up? That shit crazy, bro. He inserted himself in the Kobe talk. Like, Steph wasn't up 3-1. Kobe wasn't up 3-1. Bro, check this out. Them niggas were able to get out the first round, bro. Period. You talking about you wasn't in a position to win the championship, bro. You was in a position to get past the first round and anything could happen, bro. I give you some of those years in Orlando, except for 03. You were up 3-1. You should have closed the deal. You did not. You got outplayed by Chauncey Billups in game 6 and 7. I remember, nigga. So stop, bro. Then you had a good team with Houston. Now, y'all, he was hurt a couple of those years. But the year that y'all lost to Utah, y'all averaged 25 and 10. You put Kobe with y'all, they destroy Utah. Kobe beat the brakes off of Utah with Powell, bro. Yao Ming was better than Powell. Bro, what the fuck? What are we doing, bro? How many times I gotta keep exposing you niggas? This is ridiculous, bro. You couldn't even get out the first round, bro. But yeah, Ryan Clark said LeBron James has a problem with more rings culture, not just ring culture. So y'all like, share, subscribe, hit that join button. Sad. I'm out. Peace.